Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF44 coming at you in another video. All right, Game 4, Western Conference Finals, excuse me. Golden State Warriors and the Dallas Mavericks. This game is going to be in Dallas, and unfortunately, the Dallas Mavericks are down 0-3 in the series. Their last game was really disheartening, as most of the games have been thus far for the Dallas Mavericks. You do enough in Game 2, you think, to win the game, and you still can't get a victory. You get stuff out of players you've been itching to see something out of and still can't get a victory. It's just a lot going wrong down there. You know, they're trying different things with their bigs, but they can't get any rebounding success whatsoever against this Golden State Warrior team, which have turned themselves into a rebounding juggernaut over the last two series of play. So I personally think that this series is over. Now, I don't know that I've broken down in my mind whether or not I think Golden State is going to close them out today. I'm going to probably do that here right now, but I can tell you that I don't think they're coming back from a 0-3 deficit at all, especially against a team like Golden State. It's never been done before, and it certainly will not be done against them. There needs to be some extreme extractions from this series on Golden State's part in order for this thing to even up. And so that's really the reality of it. Kevon Looney is an unanswerable player for the Dallas Mavericks. They have no answer for him. And I think Draymond Green is giving them that same dynamic, to be honest with you. They may be able to manage one of those guys, but not two of them. Dallas just doesn't have the personnel at this point. They're not getting enough out of their others. We talked at length about the struggles of Maxi Kleber shooting the ball and Reggie Bullock shooting the ball in the previous game. They were both 0-4, and it was really bad, man. It was really bad. The both of them combined for 0-for-15, and when that happens against a team that you can't rebound against, you really find yourself behind the eight ball. You're talking about 14 offensive rebounds the Dallas Mavericks gave up to the Golden State Warriors on top of those issues. And when you're considering all of that, you have to remember that you're going up against a team that is not settling for three-point shots, even though they're elite from behind the arc. They're taking it to the hole. Guys like Andrew Wiggins are rebounding the ball, dunking on people, as we obviously saw him dunk on Luka Doncic in a play that was initially called a foul, if I'm not mistaken, or a flagrant foul. I don't know how they initially called it, but they waved that foul off and gave him the dunk, which I thought was the right way to go. Should never been called in the first place. So when you're looking at the Golden State Warriors, you understand that at this point it's theirs to lose. You know, they have the edge in the series. They found something that works. They understand that they have this team backed into a corner. Maybe the Dallas Mavericks show a little heart, but ultimately, if the Golden State Warriors do what they've been doing, it should work. This team can't rebound with them, period. They can't rebound with them, and they can't score on the inside against them. So when you have that going on, it then becomes a situation where you just find yourself dejected. You know, you find yourself dejected. You find yourself looking at the situation saying, how can I find success against a team where I'm getting 40 out of my superstar, I'm getting 30 plus out of Jalen Brunson, I'm getting, Spencer Dinwiddie's woken up. He had 27 in the last game, was really good. How can I win if that isn't enough? Because unfortunately, they really don't have a whole lot of talent after that. You know, you're looking at Dorian Finney-Smith, who's disappeared in this series. One of my favorite players in these playoffs, just flat out disappeared. Where is he? I don't know. His rebounding has especially been anemic. I need him to have double-digit rebounds, and he's giving me like 4 and 5 rebounds. If I'm sitting here on this camera saying that I think, even though he's somebody that doesn't get his number called, that I think he's actually the second most important piece or the second most talented player on this team ahead of Jalen Brunson because of what he can do both offensively, shooting the ball, and defensively, and this is all he's giving me, making me look crazy out here, man. I look like a complete idiot when I say that. So I think Dorian Finney-Smith needs to redeem himself tonight, whether they win or lose, and have a big game from behind the arc, and particularly rebound the ball, man. Rebound the damn ball. You know, that's what it really comes down to. If you're not boxing out Kevon Looney, who is? Maxi? Maxi can't box out Kevon Looney. Like, none of these guys are in a position to box out the bigs of the Golden State Warriors. So if you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're going against those Warriors, I finally got it, didn't I? Yeah, I got it. You're going to find yourself needing to rebound the basketball. That's the bottom line. You need to rebound the basketball. And if you rebound the basketball, then you'll give yourself an opportunity to have more of a cushion for missing shots, more of a cushion for guys going 0 for, more of a cushion for maybe a disappearing act from one of the players who did show up last night. You can't withstand what you're prone to do inefficiently if you do not rebound the basketball. It's the same problem the Heat are dealing with right now. They can't rebound against the Boston Celtics. They're getting beat up the same exact way. So for all the teams that are looking to build, you better understand that there's a premium on size. Yes, you need three-point shooting. Yes, you need wings that can move a little bit, skinny guys that can move. But if you don't have the rebounders, if you don't have the Kevon Looneys and the DeAndre Aytons and players that can do the stuff that those players do, you're still going to find yourself on the outside of these playoffs. Miami got all the talent in the world, but don't have the size to rebound the basketball. Dallas has all the shooters. Luka Doncic, one of the greatest players we've ever seen, but they don't have the talent to rebound the basketball. So now that we've said that, Andrew Wiggins has been fantastic all playoffs long. I am on the record saying I don't think he should have been an all-star starter. And that's very key, because if you're a starter, obviously you've been voted in, and if you've been voted in, that means that you won a popularity contest. They're not even taking into account your stats. He should not have been an all-star in that form. Absolutely not. However, he has earned his keep as a fantastic playoff player, and he may be well on his way to his first NBA championship, and he's going to have a lot to do with that. It's not going to be him just riding somebody's coattails, not holding his own. This guy has a very, very key role on this team, and he is executing it as well as you see anybody executing their role in this playoffs right now. In fact, I can argue he's one of the best playoffs players out there today. His shooting 80+% from the free throw line in the previous game is very important, because he's been very bad from the line. That's one of his biggest weaknesses. So the fact that he shot that well, I think if he could find that confidence from behind the line and continue to hit his free throws, I think it makes him a way, way better player than he's even considered right now. Because that's somebody who we know that dunk he did, he's been bashful his entire career. He could get a dunk like that every night. That's the reality of Andrew Wiggins. He can get a dunk like that every night. I remember hearing people say, I was listening to someone say it yesterday or the day before, that they didn't think Andrew Wiggins has a whole lot of upside, or there's no expectations for Andrew Wiggins at this point. And while those are two very different statements, I want to say that I'm developing expectations for Andrew Wiggins now, because he's proving that he can show up in the biggest moments. So while I didn't have a whole lot of faith in Andrew Wiggins in the past, now, those expectations are now being developed in real time. And now I'm expecting him to come out, play good defense. I'm expecting him to rebound the ball. I'm expecting him to contribute to shooting good free throws and score where it's necessary. And he's been doing it. So, there's no reason to say, let's not expect him to do nothing. He's just a guy. No, he's stepping into what I think is a real role as a clear-cut player on a championship team. So, you got to respect it. It takes guys some time. We've talked about this too. A guy like DeMar DeRozan, it took him a very long time to become the player that he became, but he got a little bit better every single year. And you see even now, as he's older, he's still improving. That's why he was an MVP caliber player this year. I personally think Andrew Wiggins could still be on that type of trajectory himself. Not necessarily to say he's going to have that type of season someday, but to say that he's going to get a lot better from here is reasonable. It's reasonable to think Andrew Wiggins can get a lot better from here, especially since he spent the last several years in Golden State, playing with the Splash Brothers, playing with, being around Klay Thompson, being around Draymond Green. Those guys are teachers as well as basketball players. They're going to make whoever's around them better if they're receptive to what it is that they're teaching them. And I think that Wiggins has learned plenty, and you can see it reflected on the floor right now. So whatever happens with Wiggins going forward, if he stays with the Warriors, post Splash Brothers, or if he goes on to another organization, my expectations for Andrew Wiggins is that if he's given a role that allows him to be who he is in this situation, he can perform. He can perform when it matters most. So, yeah, man, we're not gonna belittle Wiggins' current performance based on old expectations, old narratives, old ways of thinking about Andrew Wiggins, underdeveloped versions of himself that he's now grown into a better version of himself. So that's who we're going to be looking at Wiggins for being from here on out. Doesn't mean that I think he should be starting all-star games, because there are real bigger stars who should be getting those votes from the common public based on all the marketing money that goes into those stars. Let's just be real. That is what the conversation is actually about. But nevertheless, if the fans choose Andrew Wiggins and he's playing well, maybe this is the start of something. We already seen us knocking on that door many times. You saw it with Alex Caruso a couple years back. You've seen it with Yao Ming many years. You saw it with Vince Carter when those guys were hurt. People were still voting them in. Klay Thompson. People still vote you in if they like you or love you or what have you. So as long as he's playing well, if the NBA is going to allow the fans to vote, these are going to be the results you get, man. That's just what it is. But it doesn't mean that Andrew Wiggins ain't playing well. It doesn't mean that he ain't representing the Warriors in a way that they're happy with. And that is my opinion on the subject. So now that we move on there, Draymond Green, Splash Brothers is included. Those legends over there. You do have a lot of confidence that they know how to close out series. Unfortunately, the last time they were in a situation like this, they got blown out by like literally 40 points. And I know a lot of people don't remember that because we have very selective memories. But unfortunately for myself, I haven't forgotten that. That game is still very much in the forefront of my mind. So I think if Dallas does certain things correct, given the fact that it's their home court, they can steal this victory. Why? Because Golden State has already proven that they are not that team that's going to just stomp you out just because they have your back against the wall this season. They're not. They're going to fight with you, and they may win that game. But as far as them putting that kicker down, they're going to have to establish that with this year's team. Because what we saw against, Memphis? Nah. Memphis had them in that situation on their home floor, in Memphis rather, and they wiped the floor with the Golden State Warriors like they weren't even there. Now, of course, the Golden State Warriors came back and won the series in the next game, but the point is, in a game like tonight, am I just going to put all my money on the Golden State Warriors because that's just who they are? Nah, buddy. No. Not if I remember what I saw. Absolutely not. So, with that being said, the Dallas Mavericks, I don't think are a better team than Memphis Grizzlies. Not right now. And they can't rebound the ball, man. It doesn't matter what mentality Golden State comes in with. It doesn't matter what mentality Dallas comes in with. If they don't find a way to get bigger, if Luka Doncic doesn't find a way to grab boards, it's over. And I say him because it has to be him. He's a big guy. He's in the paint a lot of the time. And a lot of times people are rebounding over him. And he's not boxing out. You know, as I mentioned, he sits in the chair a little bit. But he doesn't always follow through. You know, he will start the process of sliding his feet defensively. But once that person turns the corner, he doesn't keep fighting. There's no reach around, wrap around. There's no pulling nobody's shoulder, no flagrant fouls, none of that. He's going to let you score, and that is why he's losing. If I'm being completely and utterly honest with you, that's why he's losing, because he's not being physical enough. He needs to be more physical. That's what I think. You Luka Doncic, bro. You a 250, 60 pounds of man. I see these dudes, big dudes, can't push you around. So when it comes down to you being defensive in the paint, even though you have a lot of responsibility and can't get in foul trouble, your back is against the wall, and you need to go balls all the way to the wall, fam, or this thing is over, and your legacy will be affected by the fact that you've been swept. So that, for a player of his caliber, should not ever be on his record. You know, we don't want to talk about too many sweeps when we talk about Luka Doncic and his legacy 10, 15 years down the road. They're going to still be mentioning how he got swept by the Golden State Warriors. You better believe it. So this is one of them situations where if I'm him, if I'm getting swept, I'm putting up a line that you ain't seen too often. I'm gonna get my triple-double. I'm gonna get my high efficiency numbers, and or I'm gonna get to the line a million times. It's gonna be one or the other. Or I'm gonna foul out. You know what I mean? But Luka Doncic needs to understand that you're not just fighting for this season, bro. A player of your caliber is fighting for your entire career every single time you step on a playoff floor, and it sucks, but it's the truth. You're in that category. And I know it's a lot of guys that, like I said, marketing dollars they pour into people to make sure that we look at them that way. I don't look at him like that. Even if he didn't get marketed, his game would still translate to big numbers, big production. If you give him the right team, he's a championship caliber player. But he does need to get a lot better defensively. And it ain't about whether or not he can stay fast. I've seen slower players than him have more effective opportunities on the defensive side of the ball. You just got to get smart. You got to flop a little more. That's the name of the game. Look, and that's what it is. You see it all over the playoffs. Guys who are slower, guys who aren't strong, they can still get what they need done on the defensive side of the ball. You just got to play it the smart way. Flop all over the damn place. Anytime you feel anything, you hit the floor. That's how the game is played. That's how Luka needs to play it. You're one of the golden children. Anytime you hit the floor, it's going to be a problem. He needs to use that more often. Flop, bro. Flop. So, that's what I think, man. I think Luka Doncic needs to get more physical, and I think he needs to flop more. Honestly. I think he needs to use his favor in this league to his advantage, especially in a game like tonight. get better at flopping, bro. Because everybody around you flopping. And that's also something I want to say. All these superstars need to understand, bro. When you physical, when you're trying to be physical against certain players, all they're gonna do is flop off you. That's it. So a guy like Luka Doncic, when he sits in that chair, he needs to understand. As soon as you bump anybody, boom, they're falling. Because they're gonna try to draw fouls against you, man. Same strategy I'm saying he needs to use is most definitely gonna be used against him all times. So, and that goes for every superstar in this league. So that's pretty much that, man. Golden State Warriors, we talking about Klay Thompson's shooting struggles. I'm on the record many times saying I think Klay Thompson needs to go to the bench for Jordan Poole. I just think that Klay Thompson's shooting woes, they're not improving to a degree that makes me feel confident that he should be taking as many shots as he is at this stage. Now, granted, he's Klay freaking Thompson, man, so that is subject for change at any moment. But these struggles have been consistent in these playoffs. They're getting away with his shooting woes, and I think it's going to bite him before it's over if they don't manage him better. Has he been hitting some big shots in the second half? Yes. Seems like the first half he struggles. In the second half he does heroic things. But, it's one of those situations where if he doesn't snap out of this, it may not cost him against Dallas, but it will definitely cost him against the Heat or the Boston Celtics. They play too well defensively for him to be jacking up bad shots. They rebound the ball, unlike the last two teams that they've seen, especially in regards to the Celtics, which it looks like they may have to see. If you got to see the Celtics, you better believe you do not have a rebounding edge. You don't. They are going to be able to rebound with you, Golden State. So a lot of the stuff that they've been able to take advantage of in the last two series, and in this one right here, they better tighten up. They better tighten up because the Celtics ain't having it. And I'm not sure what's going on with the Heat. I don't even know about the Heat, but if it's the Celtics, you better be careful. So that's what I got to say, man. That's my thoughts, man. I'm already looking past this series to a degree. I just never seen somebody come back from a 3-0 deficit. It's never happened before in basketball. It's happened in hockey and it's happened in baseball, I believe, but that's it. So, do I want to give Dallas this game? Yeah, maybe. Honestly, with the inconsistency of these playoffs, with how bad Dallas has looked, with how teams have bounced back from 40-point deficits, as we talked about, I don't know what to think. I honestly don't. I'd be lying if I said I had a clear-cut understanding of where I'm leaning. The evidence tells me the Dallas Mavericks are going home based on the fact that they can't rebound. So I guess I'll roll with that. I initially picked this series to end in 6. I said Golden State in 6. I don't know how Dallas is going to get this game and the next one to make that real, man. I don't know. They are having such a hard time finding consistent scoring, man. Reggie Bullock, I can't rely upon him, and I'm forced to. That's the reality of the Dallas Mavericks. You gotta leave him out there because ain't nobody else gonna defend, and you gotta rely upon his shooting because they're gonna leave him open to do so. And he's gonna brick a lot of the time because he's just not that great of a shooter, even though he is a shooter. He's not a great one. So you live with that. You live with Maxi Kleber's struggles because he's one of your best defenders, but he's also inconsistent shooting. And then you just got a whole bench full of guys that just they're not up to par, man. And Frank Ntilikina, he's not getting the minutes. Josh Green, they haven't found a way to use him properly. They've removed Powell from the series. It just goes on and on. They got a bunch of guys. Trey Burke, they don't use. That's it. The end. That is all. Luka Doncic doesn't have a full team, man. He has a couple guys that he can work with and a bunch of guys that just aren't going to do it. They ain't going to cut it. So they're going home tonight, in my opinion, you guys. This series ends in broomstick fashion. I'm just going to leave it at that. BDF 44, I'll catch you guys at the end of this game. I'm out.